Hey, what's going on, guys? The Horror Man back putting a positive spin on When a Stranger Calls, the remake. When a Stranger Calls is the 2006 remake to the 1979 horror film of the same name. Jason and I have already covered the original movie twice so far, during the Fangoria Challenge and the Terror in the Isles Challenge, and is also coming up in Bravo's Scariest Movie Moments Challenge. This, however, is the first time we'll be discussing the remake. Let me start by saying I actually prefer this remake to the original, and it's for all the following reasons. First of all, this movie only remakes the iconic first 20 minutes or so of the original, which, let's be honest, is the best part of the film, and really the only thing anyone ever remembers about it. This remake is basically an expansion of that scene. Speaking of openings, I love that this one opens at a carnival. I love carnival settings, so it grabs my attention right away. I love the cast. Camilla Bell is cute and a great female lead and final girl. She plays Jill Johnson, the babysitter, in this remake. I like that we get to see more of her personal life before she's in any danger. In my opinion, this allows the viewer to care more about her character. Tommy Flanagan, who most people will probably recognize as Chibs from Sons of Anarchy, is in this, and as a huge fan of Sons of Anarchy, that's a big positive, especially since, well, he plays the stranger. The beautiful Katie Cassidy stars in this remake, just as she starred in the Elm Street remake, which also gets a lot of hate. This one, by the way, has a 5.1 out of 10 on IMDb. Brian Girardi is in this. He played in Boardwalk Empire and ATM, which I reviewed for the 12 Days of Christmas in December. Clark Gregg from The West Wing plays Jill's father, and David Denman, who plays Roy in The Office, is really good in this. So right there, we have actors from 4 of my favorite TV shows: Sons of Anarchy, Boardwalk Empire, The West Wing, and The Office. I don't know about you, but I love seeing characters from my favorite shows in other things. I really like the town in this remake, even though we don't get to see much of it. But that's a positive. There's a cool timestamp of Jill and her dad talking about cell phone minutes and waiting to use the phone until they're free. Remember that, guys? What a turbulent time in history. Now, maybe my biggest positive for this film is the house. I absolutely love the house, especially the aviary. It's so cool, and admittedly, I think about this house a lot. It's also cool that it's in the middle of the woods, right on the water. The house in this remake is literally one of my favorite houses in horror movie history. I'm not exaggerating either. It's awesome. It's like a character of its own, and with the lack of screen time for most of the cast, that's significant. It's basically Camilla Bell as Jill and the house carrying the movie, and that's not a bad thing. It works because the house is so immense and so characteristic. I like that there is also a guest house that comes into play, and even that's nice. The suspense is established really well. The movie is genuinely scary at times. It's worth mentioning, since this is another positive, that even though Tommy Flanagan plays the stranger in person, Lance Henriksen provides the voice for the phone calls. The kill scene with the red popsicle was an effective way to shoot that sequence. The atmosphere in this is so good. The stormy weather outside, the strong winds, the mist. It's spooky and moody, and it all just feels so unsafe. Not to mention with how isolated the house is. The bonfire is cool. Well, technically, I guess it would have to be hot. When a Stranger Calls has awesome lighting and some great camera shots. A standout is a really cool shot of an art sculpture in the house. The movie has an approximate runtime of just an hour and 27 minutes, and it feels even shorter than that. This is one of those films that has you on the edge of your seats the entire time. The reveal of the calls coming from within the house is so effectively creepy. David Denman's delivery of those lines were perfect. It's also frightening when Jill sees the stranger for the first time, standing up in the rafters in the children's room. Tommy Flanagan, as the stranger, is terrifying in this. He doesn't have a lot of screen time, but he makes every second count when he is on screen. He's so intimidating. It truly was perfect casting with him. I love the scene inside the aviary with the water spraying down as the stranger gets closer and closer to Jill as she hides in the water. The body underneath the water is a good reveal, and the ending of this remake is awesome too. Now, my question for this one is this. Shouldn't this be what people want in a remake? This remakes everyone's favorite part of the original film. It's the equivalent of giving Halloween fans 90 straight minutes of Michael versus Laurie, which seems to be what a lot of those Halloween fans want. This remake took that iconic opening scene of the original and extended it, and, in my opinion, made it better. Don't get me wrong. The opening in the original is creepy. But again, we don't really know Jill at that point in that one. Whereas in this one, there seems to be more at stake because we already know the character. The point of this video is not to compare and contrast though between the original and this remake. It's to ask, why do people hate this? Not only do I prefer this to the original, this is maybe one of my favorite horror remakes overall. But you don't have to agree. This is just my positive spin. Please be sure to check out Jason's as well. To which hated movie will we next give a positive spin? Check back soon to find out. But until then, what do you think of When a Stranger Calls, the remake? Comment below and let me know. And remember, physical media matters. Thanks for watching, guys. Hit that thumbs up and be kind. Subscribe.